Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It is such a beautiful day, and I love being outside that I decided to bring the practice outside. Oops, have a barking dog already. But what I love about being outside is just the sounds. And so today I'm not even going to put on any music. Maybe you can hear my waterfall in the background. I have some chimes, and the birds have just been chirping up a storm today. So we're just going to listen to nature's music and begin our practice. So let's get started and come to the mat and get into wide knee child's pose. And I will join you there in one moment. So for wide knee child's pose, your knees are wide, toes together, and this is to allow your hips to begin to open up a little bit. And maybe it feels good before you ever even get down into the pose to just sit up high and kind of shift side to side a little bit like I am. And if your knees are bothering you or your legs feel extremely tight, you can always lift your bottom up high and allow your forehead just to come down to the floor. So it's kind of a puppy-ish pose. It's not true puppy pose, but you can certainly make that work. Otherwise, let's go down to wide knee child's pose. Forehead comes to the mat. You're using this pose to prepare for your practice. Using breath to relax the muscles, to bring your focus into practicing at this time. Our lives are so busy that sometimes it's hard to turn off the to-do list. So your only to-do right now is to focus on yourself, focus on your breath, focus on this hour of practice. Bring your hands in a little bit just so your body can come up, and take both hands to the right side and then drop back down. You can feel a stretch on your left side. Bring your hands in and move them to the left. Come down, feel that stretch on your right side. Come to the center. One more time, return to your child's pose. See if you can stretch farther. Bring your hands in. Move to tabletop. Knees come in under your hips. Drop the belly, open the chest, looking forward, rounds the back. Cat pose. This feels good. Stretching out the back. I don't know if any of you did Erica's ripped class right before this, but I need to stretch out my muscles after that. This feels good, moving the hips forward, tilting them forward and back. Keep alternating between those postures. And I'm going to explain something about when I talk regarding shifting and tilting your hips forward and back. So when your hips are neutral, your pelvis is facing forward, and it's almost like you pretend you have a bucket of water around your body, around your hips. And when you anteriorly tilt your hips, that bucket of water pours anteriorly to the front. But you see what's happening, my low back is really curving. And then when you tilt to the back, you kind of are squeezing the bottom under and picture the water sloshing out of the back. So for most of the time, we want to be neutral. But when we're in cat and cow, we are anteriorly tilting, and then we're posterior tilting. So it doesn't matter the words anterior and posterior. I just want you to understand how your hips are moving and how it can affect your later postures like chair pose. Come to neutral. And let's lift the right hand up, look up. Feel the stretch in your lower back. And thread the needle. Come to your right shoulder. Wrap your left arm around the back. And bring your hand to the floor. And reach back up with the right. Look up. And release. Switching sides, lifting up that left arm. Threading the needle, coming to the left shoulder. Wrapping the right arm around your back. Bringing hand to floor. Taking your left arm to the ceiling or the sky. And release. Good. Let's wake up the core muscles. Reaching your right arm forward and your left leg back. Pull the belly up and in. So here's where you want your body to be level. Reaching, pointing your toe behind you, reaching your fingertips forward. And release. Switch. Keep breathing. And release. Let's turn the hands around so that your fingertips are pointing back toward your body. And just shift your body weight forward and back a little bit. Hopefully you're getting a stretch along. Toro, could you move, please? Toro. Hopefully you're getting a stretch along the arms. Turn your hands forward again. Let's just warm up the hips by coming around in a circle. This isn't really a yoga move. It's more something we might do in a Pilates class, but it's nice to move and get the muscles warmed up before we get into too much stretching. Switch direction. Still breathing. Finding a pattern that works for you. Breath in and breath out instead of holding the breath. Come to the center. Good, let's move to down dog. The first down dog of practice always feels a little bit stiff. So you lift up those hips. Index finger forward. Drop your heels toward the ground. Then let's come up high on the toes and drop your heels down. Come up high on the toes. Drop your heels. One more time. Up. Drop your heels. Look toward your belly button. Now from here, just come down. Bend your knees, but don't touch the floor yet. Just hover. Can you feel your low abs kick in? Press back to down dog. So a little bit of body awareness here. Coming forward, hover your shins over the floor. Press back. One more time, hover. And this time, drop the knees down. Now bring your hands underneath your shoulders and keep your knees on the floor. And from here, try and drop your pelvis down toward the ground. Pull the shoulders down and back and begin to open your chest a little bit. Now be gentle here. Maybe your back feels really tight, so you can come down a little bit lower. What you're trying to do is stretch the front of the body. Come back to your knees. Hands under shoulders. Bend your elbows and come the whole way down to the floor. Come to a baby cobra. Now be active through your legs. Bring your toes together, squeeze your thighs together, but keep your legs on the floor. Lower down. Come back to child's pose. Sit the whole way back. And now shift forward again. And come the whole way down to the floor. Baby cobra, or come to a full cobra where your arms are strong and straight. I'm excusing Toro from the yoga studio. Lower down. Come back to your knees. Back to child's pose. Come forward one more time. And this time, try going into that full cobra from above. Shoulders down, chest open. Come to your knees, hands down, toes under, hover your shins on the ground, over the ground, and then press to down dog. So this down dog is lengthening your spine. Come back down to your knees. And he's back, Toro. And from your knees, over here, lay down. From your knees, take the right leg forward. I'm just going to be super gentle right now. 90-degree angle on the front knee. Feel a little bit of the stretch in your hip flexors. And let's just shift forward and then come up a little bit. So it's a very gentle, this is not a forceful bounce. Just gently moving forward and back, shifting, and then sinking down a little bit to begin to get those hip flexor muscles to contract and release. Very gentle. On this next one, hold it down. Gentle here. Lift up your left arm. Reach over. Option to look up at that hand. You can have your right fingertips down toward the floor or on your hip. Bring the arm down. shift back and come to your knees one more time. Switch sides, lifting up that left leg, bending the knee. Let's shift forward a little bit and back. So it's just this small movement. So if you're wobbling, try tightening your pelvic floor muscles and using your lower abdominals. And then bring your concentration to this right leg and feel the power of those muscles and how they can really provide you with the stability that you might need in this movement. Now come forward and hold. And then lift up and look at your hand. And then come back to the center, come to your knees, and move to downward facing dog. Lifting up hips. Maybe you shake your head a little bit to try to release some of the tension. Come to your knees. Stand up tall again. Take that right leg forward. Lift up your left arm, and this time twist. You can take that arm outside your leg, and let's be gentle here. We're not very warm. We just want to gently begin to stretch the muscles of the back, of your side, your torso. Look behind you and keep the shoulders down. Release and switch sides. Left leg forward, right arm up. Twist and be gentle here. Looking behind you. Feeling the stretch of the torso. Release and come back. Good. Let's move to down dog again. Lifting up hips. Now keep your knees as soft as you need to and begin walking your hands back to your feet. And if you can keep both hands on the ground, great. But if not, bend your knees a lot so that your hands will at least touch down. Let the neck relax. And just hang here and ragdoll. Feel the stretch. The whole back of the body. Can you feel that stretch go up the back of your legs, the calves to your hamstrings, to your glutes, over your back, down into the shoulders, and then through the neck. With your feet rooted to the floor, to the ground, your toes are light. Lengthen through the back in a half lift. Forward fold. Slowly rise. Inhale, reach your arms wide. Step forward a little bit. Exhale, bring your hands down by your side. So let's balance here. Mountain pose is Tadasana. You're standing with your shoulders stacked over hips, over feet. Reach both hands up. Point your index finger to the sky, look up. Maybe do a little bit of a back bend to feel the stretch of your lower back and your chest opening up. Your abdominals are stretching. Come back up. Let's do that again. Reach up. Keep your hips forward and just peel back. And up. Lower your arms by your side. Let's move a little bit. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive. So open your arms as you come down to the ground. Half lift. Fold. Inhale, rise, big arms wide. Exhale, swan dive, opening up. Half lift. Fold. One more time. Inhale, rise. Exhale, swan dive. Half lift. Fold. Move to Padahastasana or gorilla pose. Tuck your hands underneath your feet. Lift your hips up high and let the neck hang down. Try straightening your legs a little more. Feel that bigger stretch on the back of the body. And this can be a little bit of a scary pose to have your head down and taking away some of your balance. So if you feel extremely uncomfortable with this, you can do one leg at a time, one hand underneath, and then switch sides. Release your hands. Keep your feet in that position. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands down by your side. Make sure you have some space to be able to move forward into a plank. Hands by your side. Inhale, reach. Exhale, swan dive. Half lift. Remember that shin hovering. You can go back to there or just walk out to your high plank or your modified plank. From here, come down slowly. Move into an upward facing dog or a cobra. Roll down. Move to down dog. Roll out to high plank. Feel your core engage. Come to low. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. One more time. Are you starting to feel those core muscles working? Come down. Up dog. Down dog. Roll out to high plank. This time put your right hand under your right shoulder and turn to a side plank. So in this side plank, you have a lot of options. You can keep your arms stacked and then have both legs straight, reaching up. Or have that leg down, bent knee, still keeping hips forward, still straight arm, hand under shoulder, so you have the stability of your arm bones. Reach up, look up. And then option, actually, let's all give this a shot. Try lifting up your left leg. Whether you're on your knee or your feet are stacked. And release. and down. Just shift back, quick child's pose, knees together. Come to down dog. Roll to high plank and move to your other side, side plank. Stacking. Option to have your knee on the floor. Try lifting up your leg. Look up and then come to the center. This time come down the whole way to the floor. Okay. Move to Sphinx pose. Forearms to the floor, lifting the chest. Shoulders are down. So trying to be long here. Opening chest, legs together. And release and come down. Come to full cobra, straight arms. And I'm going to turn to the side while you're holding that posture so that I can demonstrate what we will be doing next. So you're in your cobra, trying to really stretch the front of the body. Your abdominal muscles that you were just engaging are stretching here. And then come down. From the mat, bend just the right leg and reach back with your hand. And if you need to, if you can't quite reach, you can always use a strap or a towel. So you're trying to hold the top of your foot and try pulling that foot in toward your butt. So this is more of a prep for a posture. So from here, try pushing your hips into the floor. And as soon as you do that, you should feel a really big stretch on the front of your thigh. And I keep lifting up my head so that I can speak and talk to you, but try to keep your neck neutral, either looking down at the mat, or you can put your chin on the mat. I'm lifting up so that I can make sure that you can hear me. Now release that foot. Switch sides. Just hold the foot gently at first. And then you can assess how much you need to move for it to be a deeper stretch. Push your hips into the floor. Continue bringing your foot toward your bottom. While you're laying here, you're still bringing that belly, those abdominal muscles are still being pulled away from the floor. So you're still bringing those muscles, contracting and pulling them in. Release. Let's move to floor bow. Bring your knees a little bit wide, toes come together. Reach back. And then lift up. Lift legs, toes towards ceiling or sky. You're looking forward, but not so much that you're hyperextending your neck. Can you feel that stretch on the front of your thighs? Keep lifting high and then release. Let's go back to our Sphinx pose, and we're going to return to the floor bow, to Dhanurasana in a moment. Let's come here. Just assess, how's this feel after you did the floor bow? Maybe this is a lot easier. slowly come down. Let's return to the floor bow. We're going to add on to it. We're going to make an adjustment. So lift up toes. And from here, roll to your left side. Roll over. Yep. Stacking hips. Can you feel that stretch across the shoulder? It's a nice stretch. You also need to use your core as you are rolling to the side. So come back to the center. Release. Sphinx pose. Coming back up. In your Sphinx, can you lift a little bit higher? Can you intentionally try to be bigger in this posture? Lower down. Reach for your feet. Lift up. And then roll to the right side. Come to the center. Lift up, lift up, lift up. And then release. Whew. Moving to cobra pose. Hands under shoulders. Lift up. Legs stay down. Hopefully you have a lot more flexibility to move into this pose. Move to child's pose. Allow the body to release. Allow the back to round. Forehead to floor. So my focus for this practice today is twofold. One, I want to really work on those back muscles, the twists and the back bends. And then also I wanted to introduce you to some exercises, some poses that we've not done yet, at least in my practice with you during these live practices. So I wanted to introduce you to something different. And some of these postures you might not be enjoying very much the first time. But with practice, you'll get used to them and see the benefits. Okay, from your child's pose, just come up to your knees. And continue opening up the front of the chest and working into that lower back. Knees are open under your hips. Bring your hands back as if you're going to put your hands in your pockets and just open your chest. So the first thing you do is you stabilize your abdominals and you're stacked, and then begin pushing your hips forward and just take your gaze up. And I'm looking at a beautiful blue sky, beautiful leaves of a birch tree, big river birch. No, thank you. No. And then come back up. And if you want to, you can sit down for a moment. And then come back up. And let's move. And let's try increasing this stretch. Increasing your back bend. Push your hips forward. Maybe your head drops down. Bring the chin to the chest and roll up. Sit down. And it doesn't matter how far back you go. What we're trying to do is open the chest, contract those lower back muscles. Let's do it one more time. And as you are pushing your hips forward and your back is stretching even more, maybe your hands can come to your feet. Keep the hips forward. Chin to chest. Sit back and move to your child's pose. And release. Come to down dog, lengthen the back. Look toward your belly button. Feel your hamstrings stretching. And then take small steps toward your hands. Half lift. Fold. Inhale, rise. And release. Stepping to the front of your mat. Shoulders are down and back. And your toes together, your heels are separated. Let's do some standing postures. Inhale, reach. Exhale, swan dive down. Step back with your right leg so that you are in a left front stance. Warrior one, reach up. Step forward. Step back the other leg. Reach up. Step forward. Toes together. Inhale, reach. Swan dive down. Half lift. Right leg stays forward. Step back, left leg, warrior one. Inhale and rise. Bend the front knee. Hold here. Turn your hips forward. Open your arms and open your hips, warrior two. Pull that pinky toe, pull the knee toward the pinky toe, reach your arms strong. Take your forearm to your thigh and reach up toward the sky. Remember, you don't want to collapse down. You're using the power of your legs. Extended side angle. So here's where you can use your prop, your water bottle. You have the flexibility, place your hand to the floor, reach up, extend the arm over your ear, look at your hand. Come to warrior two, use your core, step to the front. Inhale, reach. Swan dive. Half a lift. Step back. Right leg steps, left leg forward. Reach up into your warrior posture. Strong arms, strong legs, using breath. Open to warrior two. Opening across the front of the hips. Side angle. Lifting through that side. Hand to the floor or ground, or bottle, extended side angle. Come back to warrior two. Step to the front of the mat. Good. Hands down by your side. Just breathe for a moment. Inhale, reach. Swan dive, fold. Half lift, fold. Now step wide into a side, wide leg forward fold. Feet are parallel to the edge of the mat. Hands come down to the ground. Now fold forward, shifting your body weight into the front of your foot. You're trying to take the crown of the head toward the ground. So picture that you can just put your head down and that the back will be nice and long. You're actively pulling in your belly muscles, your abdominals. With a half lift, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, use your core, rise. Now open your arms. Reach your fingers to the opposite ends of your room or your yard if you're outside. Feel that stretch. Turn your palms up. Take your arms back. Open your chest. Look up. Maybe do a little back bend. Bring the hands back to hips and fold forward. Hands to the ground. Half lift. Now take your right hand to your left foot. Twist open and look up toward the sky or the ceiling. Extending the other hand toward the ceiling, nice and tall. Your back is nice and long. You can really feel the hamstring muscles. They're trying to contract, but they're trying to stretch at the same time. And release, come down. Shift to the other side. Lengthening through the back, lifting up. Release. Bring your hands down to the floor. Try again to take the crown of the head to the ground. Half lift. Hands to hips. Inhale, rise. Good. I'm going to turn, but just stay in your position. Turn so that you can see. I'm just going to move in triangle pose on the right side. So turning that right foot. So now that it's perpendicular to the edge of the mat, you may have to bring in that back leg a little bit, but you want both legs to be straight. So moving into your triangle pose, starting off with your hand inside your leg, other hand reaching up to the sky or ceiling, depending on your flexibility. Extend your hands down to the floor. So the hip that's up in the air, you're trying to dial it. You're trying to turn it a little bit down toward the ground so that your inner thigh muscles begin to work. Take your hands down toward the floor. We're going to switch directions, and you might have to bring that back leg in a little bit We're going to revolve the triangle. So your left hand that's up in the air is going to come outside your right foot, or on your right foot, or on your water bottle, and turn the other way. Bring your hands down. Rise. Turn your feet other side. Triangle pose first. So straight legs. Taking the hand down toward the ground. Right arm toward the ceiling. And then move into your triangle. Using breath. Release. Set up to revolve your triangle. So again, if you need to adjust that back leg a little bit, go ahead. Revolving the other way. Release, bend your knee a little bit. Come up. Come to a wide leg stance. Turn your toes out. Hands come to prayer. We're moving into our squat, malasana, or goddess squat. Knees are wide, shoulders down. Bring the hands to the floor, lift up. And return to your squat. Hands to the ground, lift up. Walk your feet together so the toes are touching, heels are separated. Half lift, fold, and rise. Let's do some balance poses before we move back down to the floor. Trying to find a balancy spot on my mat. All right, so let's start off just with a star. So balancing on your right leg, lift up that right arm, lift up your left arm, and then take your left leg out, pointing the toe and just balancing. And if you need to, you can tap down, lift back up. So try opening up the chest. Maybe tap down or keep holding. Now take that leg behind you. We're going to move into airplane pose. So lifting up your chest and that back leg. You're looking forward. And release. Good. Other side. Opening the arms, taking them up toward the sky, lifting up the leg. Point the toe, reach higher. Option to tap down. Keep breathing. And then move into your airplane pose, taking your leg behind you, lifting up chest. It's okay if you fall out, you wobble. I just fell out of mine, and it's because I lost my focus. And release. Oh. We did a bunch of swan dives today. So I wanted to take you into a pose called divers. It's not really very complicated. So bring your arms up, but it's going to challenge your balance. So come up high on your toes. Pretend you're on the edge of a cliff, and there's a beautiful pool of water, ocean down below, or a sea nice and blue. Begin to open your arms. Keep the heels off of the ground. Fold forward, keeping the back long. Sweep your arms back behind you. Keep that balance. Stay high up on the toes. Feel your hamstrings work. Pull in the belly. Release, lower down your feet. Let's do it one more time. See if you can make it a little more fluid. Reach up. Come up on the toes. And then fold. Hinging from the hips, looking down toward the water, taking your arms behind you, opening chest, powerful arms. Heels are still off the floor. Can you feel your hamstrings? And release. Good job. All right, let's move to the floor. Inhale, reach. Swan dive down. Half lift. And have a seat. Extend your legs forward. We're not finished stretching the back and the back of the legs. We're going to continue with some floor exercises here. Toes up. Hands down by the bottom, lifting chest. Breath in, and then exhale, reach toward your feet, maybe holding your big toes, and fold. Big, big stretch on the back of the body. Feels different than when you're folding forward. So maybe you can fold forward rather easily and place your hands on the floor from a standing position. But once you change and you're seated, a lot of other muscles come into play. So, plus we don't have gravity pulling the crown of the head down. Work a little harder. Take the crown of the head to the foot. Keep pulling belly in. And then release. Bend your knees. And I'm going to turn to the side. I'm going to move into our bridge and some shoulder stands. I'll give you options. So what's really important here is once you are down and you're lifting, please do not turn your head right or left. So if you need to look at the screen, then come down out of the posture. But try and just trust yourself and listen to what I'll try to be really expressive with my explanation. So from here, we're going to take our time as we come down, because I want you to engage those core muscles. So your knees are bent. Reach your arms forward. Come down to the floor. Use control. Once you are down on the floor, bring your heels in close to the butt for bridge pose. You lift up your hips. Push hips up to the sky. Your weight is on the back of your shoulders and your head. Keep pushing heels to ground. Bring your knees slightly together. And you lift just a little bit higher. And release. Bring your knees up. Straighten your legs to the ceiling or the sky. Pushing bottom of the feet to the sky. posture is appropriately called waterfall. It's also called legs up the wall, but I'm going to call it waterfall since I have a waterfall over here to my right. Now you can stay here or move into shoulder stand. So again, super important that you do not turn your head once you are in shoulder stand. From shoulder stand, we will move to a plow pose and an ear pressure pose. So all of those postures will keep your neck in the same position. And I will explain each one. So moving into shoulder stand or stay here. This is an inversion. We come out of the legs a little bit, give the feet a little bit of a rest. Moving into your shoulder stand, you bring your legs together so you're engaging the leg muscles. Lift up and point your toes toward the sky. Now you are trying to have a nice strong core here and strong legs. The backs of your arms are supporting you. To move to plow, you take straight legs over your head and place the top of your feet to the floor. Your belly is engaged. You're looking between your legs or at your thighs. You can put your hands on your lower back for support, or you can clasp your hands and place them on the mat. Move to ear pressure pose. Bend your knees, toes stay together, and place your knees on either side of your head. Squeeze your ears. You are trying to put your knees down to the ground. To release, you can place your hands on your hips, bring your knees off of the floor, return to waterfall. And for those of you who were in waterfall, we're all going to move together. Bend the knees down. Bend the knees, place your feet to the floor. Drop open the knees. This is called recline bound angle. Just close your eyes for a moment. Bring your right knee into your chest. And then take that right knee across the body for a spine twist. Look out over your hand. Let your knee release. Come to the center. Lower your leg. Bring the other knee in. And take the knee across for your spine twist. Come back to the center. Bring your knees into your chest. Roll up in a little ball. And then move to Shavasana, our final pose, corpse pose. Extend your legs, let your toes drop out. Palms up, shoulders are down. Close your eyes. Use this time to continue breath and stay focused. So stay here, stay in your practice. It's a beautiful spring day, and I feel very blessed to be able to practice outside today. So I want to close with a quote, with a poem. It says, I want to get lost in the valleys. I want to get lost in the woods. I want to get lost in the sky. I want to get lost in the nature. And I want to find myself. I want to find peace. I want to find the inner me. And that was written by the occasional writer. And it's certainly a poem that resonates for me. I love being outside. And when I practice yoga on my own, I very rarely use music. I like to just have this silence. And most especially like hearing outside noise. At least gives you an awareness of what is appealing and what makes you feel good. And what can drive you. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll to your right side. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bring your hands down to prayer. Thank you for practicing with me. New postures, and recognize some of them are really difficult. Take these new postures and use them to expand how your body feels, but also to challenge yourselves and